I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you my recipe for orange-scented rice pudding. And I'm going to make a beautiful compote to go on top with plums and apples. It's delicious. It takes no time at all to prepare, and this is actually a great recipe to use up any leftover fruits that are either not in season or that are too ripe, but you want to cook them up a little bit. Either way, you can't go wrong. Now, the ingredients for the base of the rice pudding is going to be some whole milk and some risotto rice or arborio rice. I will say though that you could probably make this recipe using like a basmati rice. I've personally never done it. I've always used the risotto rice because the starch in the risotto rice makes the rice pudding extremely creamy, which is what I want. So let's get right into it. I'm going to put my whole milk in this pan here, in this saucepan. I'm going to wait for that to come up to a boil, and when that does, I'm going to add in my rice. Once I add in my rice, I'm going to turn it down to low and let it simmer for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to show you the remaining ingredients you're going to need to finish off the rice and then to make the compote. Now my rice has been cooking for 25 minutes. I just added my rice to my milk when it first started to come up to a bubble, and I let it cook for 25 minutes on medium-low heat. And now to that, we're going to add in a tad of sugar, a little bit of vanilla, not a whole lot, just a bit. Oh, oven's preheating. And a little tiny bit of orange. Now you want to be careful because you don't want to go overboard with the orange. You want it to be scented slightly with that sort of citrusy deliciousness, but you don't want to put too much. So that'll be fine. Probably about a half a teaspoon, if that. All right, I'm going to let this cook for another 5 minutes or so, and while that's happening, I'm actually going to put it on the back burner so we can start on making the fruit. Now for the compote, I'm just using some plums that I've just pitted, and these are actually kind of really sweet, but they're hard as a rock. So when you cook them, they're going to cook down and just really, really enhance that sweetness. And I'm also using a golden delicious apple that I've peeled and I've just cut into bite-sized pieces. A small little pinch of cinnamon, not too much, and the remaining orange. We're going to use orange juice. So everything goes into a small saucepan. It's very simple. You can use any fruit that you'd like. If you do have a favorite combination, please leave it down below so that we can all try it. So anyways, got your fruit, got your cinnamon. Now I don't want to cook this for so long that it becomes like jam. I want it to keep some of its texture and a lot of its color. So I'm just going to squeeze my orange right in there. And this is, this fruit sauce or compote or stewed fruit, whatever you want to call it, is delicious on anything from ice cream to frozen yogurt to top waffles or pancakes, you name it, French toast. It would be delicious, but it's going to be delicious today on the rice pudding. So, squeezing my orange. I left the peel on the plums just because it doesn't really bother me. It's not as tough as, say, the peel from the apple, and it also gives a lot of good color to the sauce. Okay, so now because I'm using a sweet apple and because the plums are sweet, I'm not adding any sugar to this. We did add sugar to the rice pudding, so I don't feel like it's necessary. But, of course, if you're using fruit that's a little bit tart, you want to use a little bit of sugar. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on this, stirring it as much as I can for about 7 or 8 minutes or until the fruit starts to cook down. I'll show you what it looks like once it's done and we're ready to plate and eat. That looks perfect. If I push my wooden spoon against the apple, you can see it kind of falls and breaks off, so it's perfect. Still got texture, but it's cooked down a bit, so that's what we want. The rice pudding is ready. Got it right here. Now, normally, here in the U.S., we eat rice pudding cold. Now, I know all over the world, when I first made rice pudding, my first recipe on rice pudding, everybody was like, whoa, what do you mean you eat it cold? Because we love to eat it warm. I really like it warm as well, and I think this combination, eaten warm in front of the TV as a nice dessert or a special treat, is just perfect. So that's what I'm going to do today, but normally you could put this in the fridge until it's nice and cold and then top it with whatever you like. So I'm just going to serve myself a tiny tad right now because I still have to eat dinner, but I want to show you. And then I'm going to take some of my fruit, some of my apples and plums. I like that right over the top. Okay, got a piece of the plum and the rice. It's gonna be hot. It's so good. It's sweet from the rice pudding, yes, slightly tart from the fruit because we didn't put any sugar in it. This is a dynamite combination. And like I said, you can play this up a million different ways depending on whatever fruit you've got. You can do the same thing with my berry compote if you didn't want to use this type of fruit. But, you know, whatever you've got, just make sure you share because sharing is caring. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me. Go to laurinthekitchen.com to get this recipe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.